Hello friends, it's Lisa, and today I'm going to be doing a very long overdue book haul. I have not done a book haul, I think, since January of this year, so I quite literally have almost every book that I have hauled and acquired this year next to me, and we're gonna chat about them. I just love filming book hauls. I think it's so fun just to chat about books I'm excited to read, but also some books that I have read because, again, I've had some of these books since February of this year. So some of them I have read. I think it'll be interesting to kind of keep track of how many of these books I've actually read versus not read. So yeah, I'm very excited to get into this book haul, but let's just hop into it. Let's start chatting about the books that I have acquired in 2023. So like I said, I did film a book haul back in January. So this is the first book that I think I acquired after that book haul went up, and I got this at the very beginning of February. We're a bit of old news at this point, obviously, if I wait this long to film book hauls for the books that I've acquired, but Chain of Thorns, I have it. Are we surprised? No one's surprised. I feel like the books that might be books that you've all known that I've had for quite a while, I might go through pretty quickly, but this is the third book and last book in the Last Hour series. I think this came out, I think it was January 31st, so I probably got it at the very beginning of February because I had it pre-ordered, and I have read it, obviously. All of those tabs is evidence to that. And I do have a whole vlog on my channel that's over an hour long. It's a little ridiculous, to be honest, but I had a lot of thoughts on this book, so I did a whole vlog dedicated to it if you want to know all my thoughts on this. Obviously, I was very excited for this. It was one of my most anticipated books of the year. Unfortunately, I didn't love it as much as I was expecting to, but I did buy it, and I'm happy to have it as part of my Shadowhunter collection, of course. The next couple of books that I got this year are actually a couple of special editions from Fairy Loot. So one of them is Sea Sparrow by Kristen Kishore. This was a gift from Daryan Reads. So of course, thank you, bestie, for getting this for me. This was a Christmas gift. She kind of just showed me the picture that she ordered it, and then it arrived earlier on this year. But yes, this is the stunning Fairy Loot edition, which I feel like my camera's probably not doing it justice, but it's so shiny and reflective, and it has these bright orange sprayed edges, and I just think that that is so cool and eye-catching and so stunning. I'm not a big orange fan, but the bright orange sprayed edges are they're just great. They're just iconic. And I think that this cover is similar or like the exact same as like the UK covers, like their typical UK covers, but obviously I'm not from the UK, so I have the US edition. So this cover specifically is a little bit more special than the normal one. I do have a copy of the normal US edition of Sea Sparrow, so it's cool to have a different cover and different edition, and I'm definitely gonna have to compare the two and see if there's any like difference inside with the material that's inside. But of course this is signed, which is also really neat. But yeah, there's like a ton of pictures and maps and things in here, and I know there were a decent amount of maps in Bitter Blue, which is the most recent book in the series that I've read, so I don't know, that could just be in the normal copy as well. Definitely gonna have to do a compare and contrast. But this is the fifth book in the Graceling series. I don't know if I said that already, but I actually haven't read this book yet, so hopefully I like it because I now have 2 copies of it. And like I said, I just recently read Bitter Blue, which is the third book in the series, so I still need to read the fourth one and then I can get to this one, and I really do hope I like this because obviously I have this stunning edition. Even if I don't like it, obviously this is still such a special part of my collection. It was a gift from a friend. It's beautiful, so I love it regardless. But hopefully the inside is just as beautiful as the outside. And then I also have another Fairy Loot edition as well. I have Cursed by Marissa Meyer, which I did by myself. Daryan gifted me the gilded one a couple years ago when that came out, and of course when they announced that they were doing Cursed as well, I knew I had to get my hands on it. And it's so stunning. I love the silver sprayed edges. They're just so shiny, and obviously the cover is very reflective as well. And at first when this was announced, I love that one is gold and one is silver, but I am more of a gold person, so just like based off of the pictures I was like, yeah, it's fine, I like it, obviously I'm gonna buy it anyways. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't like it, I promise you that. But I don't know, obviously I just prefer gold, but in person the silver is just so stunning, and I actually love it so much more in person, and the end papers are really stunning, and of course it's also signed by Marissa Meyer, which just makes me so happy. So yes, of course I had to get myself a copy of Cursed as well because I had the gilded special edition. I needed the matching set. And this definitely isn't my favorite series by Marissa Meyer, but I still really enjoyed it. I think I gave both books like 4 to 5 star ratings. I think I gave Cursed 5 stars. I think, which might have been generous, but also I know I'm totally biased when it comes to Marissa Meyer, so who knows. But yeah, very happy to have this, and I just think Fairy Loot does such amazing special editions. These are so, so beautiful. There are a lot of really great companies that do beautiful special editions, but something about Fairy Loot, they got it down. The next book that I have to haul is one that again has made plenty of appearances on my channel, in vlogs, in videos, over on my Instagram as well. Like, it's kind of everywhere. I haven't really shut up about it, and of course, that's Happy Place. This is by Emily Henry, and this is her most recent 2023 release. And obviously I've read it, loved it. It's one of my favorite books of the year. So of course, I know I've talked about it plenty of times, but I still wanted to acknowledge it in the haul. I did acquire it this year, so it had to be here. The next book I ended up picking up, this was back I think in June, was Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman. This is one of her like short story novellas following Nick and Charlie, set in the Heartstopper / Solitaire universe. I mean, all of Alice Oseman's books take place in the same universe, but obviously those characters are all very connected, and I haven't read this yet because I want to make sure that I read everything in the appropriate order. I still need to read Solitaire. I know there's this Winter as well that has recently come out with this, like, with Alice Oseman's like art style as the cover, so I just want to make sure I read everything in order, but I definitely want to acquire all of these books and these novellas. I personally love these new editions of Alice Oseman's books with their art style on the cover. I know not everyone is a fan, but I happen to love them. I think I just love Alice Oseman's art style, so to me, being able to have a bunch of covers with their art on it is just very, very fun. Charlie's even reading I Was Born for This on the cover. Like, that's just so great. And the back is also very cute as well. It just feels like an art piece, I guess, having this book. But yeah, I'm really excited to have this. I definitely want to collect more of Alice Oseman's books, whether they're the Heartstopper novellas or just her books in general with these new covers. And there's also a fun story about this book. I bought it when I was in Bar Harbor in Maine, so I do have the receipt in here from the bookstore I bought it from, and I'm just gonna keep that in there, I think, all the time, so I always remember that I got it in Bar Harbor on that little vacation, and I don't know, that just makes it a little bit more special. So yeah, I picked this up at that bookstore in Bar Harbor, and I'm just very happy to have it a part of my collection. And like I said, I do want to collect kind of all of the Alice Oseman books with these covers, especially like the Heartstopper related things. Next up, I was kindly sent Nine of Swords by Brooklyn Quintana. This was sent to me by the author in exchange for reviews, so I was super excited to get into this. And actually, the author reached out after I finished this and sent me a copy of the sequel, Blood in the Water. So I have read Nine of Swords, haven't read this yet, but definitely want to. I would love to ideally get to this by the end of the year. I just don't know if that's gonna happen. It is a bit of a chonky book. I mean, it's a little bit shorter than Nine of Swords, so it shouldn't take me as long to get through, but yeah, it's just a bit of a chonky fantasy, and who knows if I'm gonna be in the mood for that. So I would like to get to it by the end of the year. We'll see, but thank you so much to the author for sending me these books. I'm so excited to read this. I really enjoyed Nine of Swords. So in Nine of Swords, you're following Phineas Fogg, and he is sent to this military academy. He's also a prince. So there's a lot of like political intrigue in this series and in this book. I definitely think that the political intrigue is going to increase in the sequel, which has me very excited. But there's kind of this impending war that Phineas Fogg doesn't quite know enough about. He's only 12 years old, so he kind of knows it's happening, but he doesn't really know exactly what's going on, and he's sent to this military academy to train. So he goes to this school that's in this castle and is training with a bunch of classmates, and there's lovable characters, lovable teachers. His classmates are really fun. There's a lot of fun dynamics that Finn has with his classmates, and they're all training for the end of the year games, which will sort them into like what part of the military they'll kind of be studying under. So it's really fun. I did really enjoy it. Obviously, like I say, it's really fun. There's a lot of sad moments and stressful moments and death and things like that, but I had a good time, so very happy to also have the sequel. I got both of these over the last couple of months, and just very happy to have these. And once again, thank you so much to the author for sending these my way. Alright, the next book I have to haul has another little fun backstory, and that's Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. So I have the cute little mass market paperback edition, and it's just so precious. I did like originally want to get the other covers that like everyone has, the more like aesthetically pleasing ones, I guess you could say. I definitely prefer those covers, but something about this is just kind of funny, and I don't know, I do kind of love these covers. And the kind of fun story behind it is that it was free. I found it at a free little library, but the free little library was inside of a brewery that I was at for a bridal shower. So there's just a lot of fun memories attached to this for me. I mean, I've seen so many free little libraries around, but I've never gone to one. So it was really fun to just kind of stumble upon one inside of a brewery, which is like the most me thing to ever happen. I'm at a brewery and I find a free little library. Like that is just, couldn't be a better combination. But yeah, there's just like those fun kind of memories attached to it, and I definitely need to go back and put a book there. I'm still filled with guilt that I took this, even though like that's the point of a free little library, but I need to go back and put a book there. I know my like YA fantasy and contemporary that I've unhauled that I could put there doesn't really fit the vibe. This was the only thing that I recognized at this free little library. It was a bunch of books like nonfiction, books about like war. Not really my vibe. So yeah, I don't know if they'd want any of my books there, but you know, I still feel like I need to put something back there. So I need to go back at some point and bring some books to put in that free little library, because this was a very exciting find and I'm excited to get into this series. I've been wanting to read it for a while, and my kind of thought is that the mass market paperbacks are probably going to be cheaper to buy than the other covers. So maybe it was a win. And even if I really like the series, I can buy myself the other covers eventually. But yeah, I thought it was really fun that I found this at a free little library. It has that little story attached to it. And every time I look at it, I think of that day and how fun it was. So very excited to have this. The next couple of books I got, I did show in my what I got for my birthday video, so I technically have hauled them already, but I couldn't just skip over them and not talk about them. So I decided to quickly include them here. So I got Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo and The Sword of Kaigan by Emma Wang. And both of these were gifted to me by my bestie, Casey. So thank you so much, Casey, for the wonderful birthday gifts. And I have actually read one of them. I have read Family Lore, and this was one of my most anticipated releases of the year. Unfortunately, did not live up to that anticipation and excitement for me. That's been kind of a common theme for my anticipated releases this year, which is kind of a shame. But I haven't read The Sword of Kaigan yet. I have a lot more hope for this one. I feel like I'm going to enjoy this one a little bit more, and the little gift receipts are sticking out. But yeah, very excited to get into this. I've heard really good things about it, and again, just love the idea of a standalone fantasy. Even though this is quite a big book, it is a standalone, so it's a little less intimidating. I feel like this is just going to be the perfect thing to pick up when I want to read a fantasy like this, but without getting into a multi-book series. I'm really excited about it. Again, heard really good things about it. So very excited to have these in my collection. I know I've said that about every single book that I'm excited about it, but it's just true. And even though I didn't love Family Lore, I mean, I didn't hate it either. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. So I'm still happy to have it a part of my Elizabeth Acevedo collection. And obviously, as it was a gift from one of my best friends, it's also special for that reason. All right, then I did end up getting my copies of the Lunar Chronicles Fairy Loot special editions. Again, Fairy Loot, just, they know what they're doing. But I left them on my bookshelf because I did do a whole video unboxing them, showing my reactions to the art and everything. And that was just like one of my favorite videos that I filmed this year, just because I was filled with so much joy unboxing those books. I just love the Lunar Chronicles. So I'm gonna leave that unboxing linked below so you can go and check it out. But obviously, like, I don't feel like I need to show them here because I did that whole video. But following that, I did end up getting Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This was sent to me by bestie Daryan yet again. I feel like Daryan, to be honest, has sponsored most of my physical TBR, so thank you, bestie. But I am so excited to read this book. I feel like this is the makings of a 5-star read for me. It just has everything I could ever want. It's set in the Regency period in England. It's a fantasy romance. I think it even has like a cozy fantasy kind of vibe. So it is quite literally everything I love. So I don't see how this could not be 5 stars. But it says on the back here, you're following a character named Theodora who's been cursed by a fairy, and she has no sense of fear or embarrassment. And she's kind of hoping to be a sensible wallflower during the London season. But when Elias Wilder, the handsome, peculiar, and utterly ill-mannered Lord Sorcier, discovers her condition, she is instead drawn into dangerous fairy affairs. I'm just so excited. I think this is going to be so good. I definitely want to pick this up soon. I feel like this would be the perfect thing to pick up over the winter season. I don't know why, this just screams. It screams fall, but it also screams winter. So hopefully I'll pick this up soon. It says it will transport you to a magical version of Regency England. Literally, what else could you want? I'm so excited about this. I feel like this is the makings of a 5-star. So very happy to have this. Thank you so much, Daryan, for sending this to me. I'm clearly very excited to pick this up. Okay, we're reaching the end. The final few books that I have to haul. One of them is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I finally got my hands on a copy. When I read this back in June, I think. This was when it was very hard to get an actual physical copy of it, so I was just waiting for it to like come back in stock. It's been back in stock for a while. I just finally got myself a copy a couple weeks ago, which to be honest, I should have waited a little bit longer because there's now this stunning edition of it with black sprayed edges and the red cool cover. I just have the worst luck when it comes to that kind of thing. I always buy something and then like a week later they announce a different version of it, but it's fine. I'm just happy to own it. But yes, I am in fact one of the Gorleys that had a good time with Fourth Wing. Do I think it's a perfect book? No. Do I agree with a lot of the criticisms? Yes. But I had fun, so that's really all that matters to me. And I knew I was going to be pre-ordering a copy of Iron Flame, which is the sequel that's coming out in November. We're like a month out from it, and I'm so excited. But yeah, I knew I was going to be pre-ordering a copy of that so I can read it as soon as possible. I don't want to have a situation like we did with Fourth Wing where it's impossible to find a copy, and I'm sure like holds through libraries are going to take forever. So I knew I wanted to pre-order that, but I didn't want to have that and not have a copy of Fourth Wing as well. So got myself a copy of this. Potentially we'll be doing a reread soon. I think that that could be a fun vibe. There's also a fun map, which I love a map in a fantasy book. So I feel like this is going to be helpful. I feel like I couldn't really picture everything when reading like the ebook because I didn't have the map to refer to. So I think it'll be fun to look at that while I read. Anyway, very excited to have a copy of this. And on that same Barnes & Noble trip, I ended up picking up another one of my anticipated releases for the year, which is The Long Game by Elena Armis. I'm actually currently reading this. I don't know if you can see the bookmark in the book. I have like 100 pages left, so yay me for actually reading my physical TBR. Imagine that. But yes, this is Elena Armis's newest romance release, which I definitely was skeptical about just because as much as I love The Spanish Love Deception, The American Roommate Experiment, I didn't love as much. I feel like I just enjoyed the reading experience of that book because I read an arc of it. I was annotating a copy because Daryan got the arc, so she read it, annotated it, and then sent it to me. So I was able to read her annotations while I was reading, and that just like added to the experience. I think I just enjoyed the reading experience more than the actual book. So I was a little nervous getting into this because I was like, I don't know if this is going to work for me. Is it going to be more of a Spanish Love Deception moment or American Roommate Experiment moment? So far, I will say I am liking it more than the American Roommate Experiment, but I don't think it's topping the Spanish Love Deception. I unfortunately don't think she will ever be able to do that for me. How can you do better than Aaron Blackford? You know? Cameron's great though. Love him. However, Aaron Blackford, you know? It's just, there's no competition. But like I said, I'm reading it right now. I still have 100 pages left, so a lot could change in those 100 pages. We'll just have to wait and see. Definitely happy that I ended up picking this up and I'm liking it more than the American Roommate Experiment. I'm happy that it's working out better for me. All right, and now we've made it to the final book I have to haul, my most recent purchase. This actually was only delivered a couple days ago, and that is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I am so happy to own this book. I love this book so much. This is probably one of my favorite books of the year. Definitely one of my favorite books of the year. It might even be my favorite book of the year, but that kind of stresses me out to figure out, and that just seems like a problem for Lisa in a few months when she has to make her favorite books of the year video. But yes, I absolutely love this book. I read it on audio earlier this year, I think back in June, and I just loved it so much. And similar to Fourth Wing, I knew I wanted to pre-order a copy of the sequel, and I wanted to own a copy of the first book before owning the sequel. So knew I had to get my hands on a copy, and just the fact that I love this book so much, I needed to own it. And I definitely think a reread of this is in my very near future. I just now looking at it and having it in my hands, the only thing I want to do is reread it, which I've never done, at least in like more recent years in my like adult years. I've never read a book in a year, absolutely loved it, and then have reread it within the same year. I've wanted to do it with many favorite books over the years many times, but I've never actually done it. So the fact that I actually might reread this in the same year that I read it for the first time, I think just shows how much I've loved this book, and especially because the sequel is coming out this year. It's the very end of December, but still this year, and I just feel like I'm gonna want to do a reread before reading the sequel. So I may be rereading this soon, and I'm very excited about it because I just love this book so much. Just thinking about Roman Kit is like making me emotional, so we gotta wrap this up. I did not look under the dust jacket when I got this. I did not know that. Did I know that that was there? I don't know. Are you kidding me? Is there something on the back? Okay, no. Hello? Okay, my camera died in the middle of me kind of losing my mind over this detailing on the hardcover, which is probably for the best because that was just too much and the reaction was a little dramatic. But yeah, I can't remember if I knew that that was there. I might have and just forgotten, but so beautiful. So beautiful on the inside and the outside, and I'm just so happy to own a copy of this book. Like I have clearly stated, I just absolutely love this book and adore it and cannot wait to be back with these characters and reread it soon, hopefully. And I'm just so happy to have an actual physical copy of it in my hands. But that was the final book for this book haul. This is everything that I have acquired and purchased since my first book haul of the year back in January. And excluding the Fairy Loot editions of the Lunar Chronicles that I have, I hauled 14 other books in this haul, and out of the 14, I've read 7, almost 8. So I feel like that's pretty good. I've read half of the books that I have acquired this year, especially as you all know, I love the Libby app, I love my Kindle, and this year I've been really using and loving Scribd as well. So I've really been neglecting physical reads. So I feel like because of that, I feel like I'm doing pretty well. I'm actually reading half of the books that I'm receiving, and the ones I haven't read yet, I'm very excited about, as I've said so many times in this video. So I'm just so excited. I just love books. Looking at this stack of books next to me just makes me so happy. But yes, I would love to know if you've read any of these books. I'd love to chat about them down below in the comments, especially if there's books that I have not picked up yet. Like, let me know which ones I should be picking up and reading as soon as possible. But that is going to be it for this very long overdue book haul. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.